Hello, this is Zahir Alam. Welcome you all on Frankly Speaking. Our guest today is CEO of Grameenphone, Oddvar Hessedel. He takes up the position immediately succeeding Anders Jensen on November 2008. Grameenphone is the largest mobile telephone company in Bangladesh. The company, which launched operations in Bangladesh 1997, is 62% owned by Norway's Telenor, with the balance 38% being held by the Grameen Telecom, that is part of the Grameen Group. Roughly, in an account, the country's total number of mobile phone subscribers reached 38.93 million. GP holds leading position in the market of 6 telephone operators in Bangladesh. This company is the market leader in mobile telecommunications, no doubt about that, on this sector with around 21 million subscribers as of third quarter of 2008. Welcome, Oddvar Hessedel.
Thank you.
We're very happy that you are on Frankly Speaking. We know that after assuming your responsibility as the CEO of Grameenphone, you said, and I remember that you said the Grameenphone, your company, which you represent, has played a very decisive and significant role in the developing the communication sector in Bangladesh particularly. And you're looking forward to contribute more for the coming days. So how do you plan for contributing in the telecommunication sector or the private sector development, particularly in Bangladesh?
Okay, let me start with a little bit of the history.
Okay.
Because I think the mobile industry in general is providing so much energy, in a way, into a country. There's research showing that the mobile industry brings a lot of other things coming in other parts of the society. That is because people are able to communicate in a way that never communicated before. And because of the mobility, you can do it all over the country. So in villages, never having any communication, people can suddenly start making new businesses. Okay. You may know that we have we started out with a village phone, creating a business in itself. We have now something called community information centers, which brings internet to all the population. And so that's the first step. It's in a way bringing communication. But then that brings a lot of business as a next step. And what we see now is going further into, well, what the government has called the digital Bangladesh. We're going into the age of not only communication, but also IT. Okay. And we, as a company, are prepared to take that journey as well. We can help both the government of Bangladesh and the people to grow in new areas, not only in the traditional voice, but also in data, bringing into broadband in the next phase, but also looking into IT companies and building what India has made to a very large extent, but Bangladesh has not been able to do so far.
So you are trying to explore new avenues of growth in the IT sector particularly, which the present government already pledged to build this country as a digital Bangladesh for the coming future.
Yeah,
but if I ask you about the size and the volume and the network base on your business around this country, how fast you are growing, how fast you are moving, particularly in present time?
Well, the growth has been fast up till now. But now it's a kind of, we're not sure whether it's saturated the whole marketplace or whether it's just a stop due to some taxation. We hope it's the last one, because then we will grow further on during this year and the coming years. As you know, you said we had 21 million customers at the moment. Yeah. That's quite significant.
Is it okay, 21 million right now?
21 million at the moment. It's huge number compared to the poverty level in Bangladesh. And it's amazing to see how many people can really take advantage.
But the Bangladesh Telecommunications Regulatory Commission, BTRC, they forecast that the number will reach 50 million. So you share the 21 million of the total subscribers. That is, right now is almost 40 million. So do you think the mobile subscribers are growing very rapidly in this country?
It's not growing rapidly at the moment. There's some issues about taxation. We have something called a SIM tax. Every SIM card that is being sold, we pay 800 taka to the authorities. And we, as an industry, can't afford to subsidize that. So we have to take at least part of it to the subscriber, and that has slowed down the growth.
Okay.
But we are convinced that all good parties in this, including the authorities, is looking at it, and it seems like they are planning to take this away, or at least partially, and then we think this growth will come back.
Is there anything got to do from the government side to expedite the growth of this private sector telecommunications?
I think to make that kind of taxation rules,
okay,
so that the industry is able to bring forward to the next level of users, because now we're going into rural areas,
okay,
and those areas are you know, people, the income level is so low that we have to have very, very low prices.
Okay.
And I don't know if you know that, but Bangladesh has the lowest prices in the world as of now. But we have to keep them as low as possible to make other people taking advantage of having the communication.
As the CEO of Grameenphone, or a private telephony company, mobile company, do you think there are scope for more reducing the call rates from your side?
Not to a large extent. I think it's a combination, of course. As you can see, we have lower prices in some parts of the day, or higher prices in other parts. Maybe we can bring down the highest prices, but at the same time, the lowest prices are so low that it may be that they even may be increased a little bit. Okay. But on total, I think the prices will go down as the sum of it. Maybe it will not be that big difference between the lowest part and the highest price.
Okay, so as a Grameenphone is a big, largest telephonic company. So what do you suggest, or what you look for from the government to facilitate more businesses or more companies to encourage them to get into this business? What they should do from their side? I mean, the policy support or any other things they have
I think
to do?
there's several things that it can be done. I think in general, I think it's a lot more cooperation between the private sector and the authorities, maybe also NGOs, maybe international bodies like the World Bank and so on, should come together in a forum to talk about the future and see how we can work together to create new business opportunities, because there's so many business opportunities in the ICT area. I would call it both IT and communication together, because that's really what can boost in this country. And what the government can do in addition is to have very clear, predictable, transparent regulations, so that we know what we have to plan with. If regulations are unpredictable, if they come into making it more difficult to create the business than making it easy, then we are on the wrong path. So that's the responsibility of the authorities to make the playing field, so to speak,
okay,
in a way so that it encourages investments, because there's a lot of money going into this. We invested last year something like 2,700 crore taka in this business. We paid more than that in taxes, 3,200 taka, something like that. So it's a huge amount of money going in, but it also needs a huge investment to make it happen. Okay.
Oddvar, do you see or do you foresee more investment is in pipeline from the, I mean, the foreign investment are in pipeline in this telecommunications sector?
Absolutely. We will see that in the GSM business going forward, but we will see it more into the data part. So we will see that we will have a lot of internet connections to the whole country. We can use that in schools, we can use that in hospitals, we can use that in government, local and centrally, to make this whole nation more efficient, okay, to close the gap between the poorest and the richest, etc.
Mr. Hessedel, so many programs as part of their corporate social responsibility, and you always claim about that you are doing and you have undertaken some programs in poverty alleviation, healthcare, empowerment of women, education, and many other things. So how critical is it for a big corporate body to get into this business, I mean the corporate social responsibility, and how efficiently they can do that?
Well, I think there's two issues here. First one is that part of our services is they are also social responsibility in a way, and then it's a double effect. We earn money at the same time as we give to the people important services. We have one service, for instance, which is called Healthline, making it possible 24 hours a day, 365 days in the year, to call for a doctor anywhere. Okay. And you get it cheap, and you get to the doctor where you have no doctor in your rural community. So that's an example. Then we also have, you know, the whole Grameen Phone started together with Grameen Bank and these village ladies that were having what we call village phones, kind of a public phone, which they could start as a business. Mm-hmm. So in that way, that's also social responsibility in a way, but at the same time bringing a sustainable, long-lasting business. Then, in addition to that, we are doing a lot with traditional, if we should say that, CSR. We are helping poor people. We're giving blankets to the poor in cold winter time. Okay. I think one of the most interesting...
These are very, Oddvar, these are very occasional extension of helping hands from your side. Yeah. But how Grameen Phone or the other private entities can extend their, their efforts or scale up their efforts in reducing or alleviating poverty, because you know the grinding poverty is in Bangladesh. So how you can play your role from your part?
I think the most important is actually to bring our services, the telephone, the data, into the whole of Bangladesh, because what we see is that we are only 5,000 people. But indirectly, we are employing 120,000 because they're directly in contact with us every day. Okay. And if we take then all that is can do business because of the telephone, there will be hundreds of thousands and millions that is really having created new jobs due to this infrastructure. I think making the infrastructure more and more efficient, better and better in all parts of the country, I think that's a major and the best thing we can do. And then in addition, I think we as a responsible company need to do some traditional help. And one of the things we're doing is to help women and child or a woman giving birth to a child. And I'm proud to say that we helped 940,000 women last year. So I think that's a significant help to also make the very poorest have some help, because we are only giving help to the poorest of the poor.
Okay. My next question is how happy you are with your services, the services you're rendering to the people.
I think we are doing well, but there's a lot we can do more. So we're not satisfied, so to speak. We would like to go further. One thing we are thinking about now is to, in a way, open our network, so that other entrepreneurs, people from the universities, technical educated people can come out with new services and create that in an easy way. Okay. So we'll try to make a new marketplace, so to speak.
How soon you are coming and embarking on this capital market? I mean, you're scheduled to launch IPOs in the Securities and Exchange Commission. You have already presented a paper. So how soon you are going to float that?
Well, we don't know because this is up to the SEC to approve our document in this. And when they give an approval, there will be we will have to explain to the public what this is all about. That will take approximately 4 or 5 weeks. Then there will be a subscription period. After that, we have to collect the money. And then, let's say, 3 weeks after that, we can be listed. But it all depends on the approval from the SEC, and that's up to them. We can't say anything more than that.
So I know you are a Norwegian and you worked for many years for the Telenor company and other companies, and a vast experience with the telecom sector. So what suggestions you would like to give this present government, because they are very keen about building a digital Bangladesh? That's a very lofty target, and how best the private sector can help this government in formulating policies or in extending their helping hands through giving bigger investments in IT or ICT sector. What's your opinion about that?
I think the most important we can do is to come up with concrete projects, creating new jobs, and at least from Grameenphone side, we are very eager to do that. And we are willing to go together with the authorities and discuss how they can make this possible. I said earlier that having an environment where you can trust the cooperation with authorities, so that you don't have a big risk in doing the investments, that's important. And then also trying to, maybe together with authorities, make some test sites. Maybe take a village, make it into the digital village of Bangladesh, and really showing not only Bangladesh but the world how Bangladeshis can create things. Because I've been amazed by being here to see the energy of the people.
So how efficiently or how best we can forge better partnership with our counterpart, overseas counterpart? I mean, how we can allure or we can encourage to come forward and invest in Bangladesh in this sector?
I think people from outside will look at the people that's here, and especially those who have international investors coming to Bangladesh. So by us in a way being ambassadors, I think that's an important part. And as long as we see that we are treated equal, that we have good industry environment, that we have transparency, that's extremely important, that we have predictability, then I think we will be very good ambassadors, because I think Bangladesh is a wonderful country, so it deserves much better than what we see today. We can and in some areas like telecom is big, but IT is very poor and small in this country. And if we look at India, we're only, I think, 0.1% of what India is exporting, something like that. And we have a possibility. Somebody said that where we're so low in doing this, that we have no chance. I say the opposite. We are having so few companies at the moment that there's a huge opportunity.
What impressions you have got about our human resources?
I think it's amazing to be in Bangladesh. You expect to see people, we heard before coming to Bangladesh, you hear that it's a very poor country. And you expect to see people in a way not very joyable. But there's smiling faces all over. And I think that's so good to see that even on a poor part of the population, there is an enthusiasm, there is a wish to grow and to go forward. And I think that human resource is really what can build Bangladesh going forward.
Tell us something about your likings, about your family. Are they living with you in Dhaka?
No, in fact, my wife, she's a teacher, and she wouldn't have get any job here, so she would like to go on doing teaching back home. I also
in Oslo?
In Oslo, yeah. And I also got 2 grandchildren, one 3 years old and one 2 weeks old. And she's very close to them, so it will be like that. I've got 3 daughters. That's very nice to have daughters, because they're taking very good care of you. So when I go back in holidays and so on, and then I can share.
How often you go to for holidays?
Could maybe be more often, but I try to be in Norway every 2nd month at least.
Every 2nd month?
Yeah.
Did you visit our Cox's Bazar or Sundarban?
It on my list. I'm going to Chittagong now this Thursday. I want to go more in the countryside. It's good to see the countryside in itself. I've been a little bit around in the closest area around Dhaka. It's fantastic scenery. But going to these very special places, I have to do over the next months.
What do you like to do most at your pastime? I mean, at your leisure time?
Well, I'm an amateur photographer.
Really? Oh,
so I'm trying to go around in the city trying to take picture of the daily life.
Oh, really?
Often when you come to a place, you would like, people say you should go to see this building or something like that. I think the daily life is much more interesting.
Much more interesting.
And you know,
and you find
the colorful Dhaka. It's fantastic colors in Dhaka. As for a photographer, it's a kind of fantastic place to be.
Thank you very much, Oddvar, for joining us on Frankly Speaking.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah, thank you. Dear viewers, Grameenphone, it started operations on March 26, 1997. It has come a long way. It is a joint venture enterprise. I mentioned earlier that it's a joint venture between Telenor, which owns 62%, the largest telecommunication service provider in Norway, with mobile phone operations in 12 other countries, and the Grameen Telecom Corporations, which owns 38%, a non-profit sister concern of the internationally acclaimed microcredit pioneer Grameen Bank. Over the years, Grameenphone has always been a pioneer in introducing new products and services in local mobile telephone market. We hope they will go forward with transparency in their action and contribute positively in our private sector development. Dear viewers, we thank you indeed for watching our program, and see you on next episode. Until then, signing off from my side, and goodbye.